Okay, this is the second video on the law of cosines and sines and cosines. So this one is the law of cosines. When do you use the law of cosines? Is when you have a setup for a non-right triangle, side angle side, or side side side. If you're given two sides and an included angle, or three sides, you use the law of cosines. Now the law of cosines states, I'll move in a little bit, that so when the law of sines cannot be used to solve a triangle, law of cosines may apply. Now, the law of cosines says in a triangle you have lengths A, B, and C representing the opposite, the sides opposite the angles with measures A, B, and C. Same thing. But now the way you write this is A squared equals B squared, that one squared, plus C squared minus 2, and now you see the B and the C go together here, times the cosine of the angle that you're trying, or the side you're trying to find. So the little a goes with the big A. If you want B squared, or if you want B, then you say B squared equals A squared, so A and C here, minus 2A and C here, times the cosine of B, which is opposite the little b. Or if you want C squared, it's A squared plus B squared, minus 2, the A and the B go together, cosine of C. So C goes, as you can see, the pattern, A goes with little a, the B and C are inside here if you're dealing with A. B goes with B here, and the little a and C in here and here. And if you want big C here to here, and you got A and B inside here. That's how I kind of think about it. So now I'm going to do some examples. So here's the first example. Okay, see, I'm going to zoom in here. Okay, example 1. We are given the measures of two sides and their included angles, so we use the law of sines. So you can see we got two sides and the included angle. We want to find x because that's the third side. So how do we do that? We set up the law of cosines. Now we gotta first label. If that's big C, that's little c. And that's what we're trying to find. So if we're trying to find that, that's what we start out with. We start out with C squared. We have A, so little a. We have B, so little b. So we don't know A or B. We can't find it because we don't know 2 to get the third one. So we're going to use C, or C squared up here. So we write C squared equals A squared plus B squared. Remember, it's the other 2, minus the A and the B, the other 2, times the cosine of C. Now we substitute in. C is x. We substitute 9 in for A, 11 in for B, and then 9 and 11 go here as a product, times the cosine of 28, which we know the angle C. Now, we simplify this. Now, understand that these two parts can be put together, and this can be put together, but you can't put them both together algebraically yet. So 9 squared plus 11 squared is 220, or 202 minus 2 times 9 times 11 is 198, times the cosine of 28. Now, the next thing you do is you can take the square root of all this if you want to do it that way. I did it a little bit different. I broke it down, but you could do all of that underneath your square root. So I'm going to do it on the calculator to show you. So I'm going to clear that, square root, and I'm going to do all of this right here. 202 minus 198 times the cosine of 28. And put parentheses. You don't have to, but you can. And you can see that you get 5.21 or 5.2. So that's really easy once you get to that part. And I didn't do it like this on my examples, but you can. Okay? So let's go down to the first two examples. Try to get them all in. Close up so you can see it. Okay, so the first thing you do is label your triangle. So if that's big D, across from it's little d. Big F, big G, little g. Okay? Now you got angle, or you got side angle, side. Two sides and included angle, so you're going to use the law of cosines. What are you trying to find? You're trying to find x. What is it opposite? It's opposite big G, so you're going to use little g. So you're going to say g squared equals d squared, the other 2, plus f squared minus 2. Remember, the d and the f go here, times the cosine of big G, because the big G goes with the little g on the outside, if you want to think of it that way. So now you substitute numbers in. 19 squared plus 15 squared minus 2 times 19 times 15 times the cosine of 125, which is angle G. Now you simplify this. Now I did all of this side out. Okay? I did it all out in one shot, and I didn't do the square root until here. Okay, either way, you could do the square root like we did up there if you want, and then put it all in, or you can get your number here. Sorry, slide this out. Let me move this. Move this out so I can slide it over so you can see it. Or you can do it this side here and then take the square root. Whichever way you do it, you get 30.21 or 30.2. Okay, example 2, 3b. So again, we have to label the sides. This is angle C, so little c is opposite. Big A, little a, big B, little b. Okay? I say big B for the angle B. And then the opposite side is little b. Now, what are you trying to use? Well, you're trying to find x. X is c, so you're going to start out with c squared. That's how you start out. That's what you figure out what you start out with, is what are you trying to find. Okay? So c squared equals a squared plus b squared minus 2ab. Remember, the a and the b go here. Cosine of big C, that is called the law of cosines. And then you substitute in. There's no little c, that's what you're trying to find. 4 squared plus 7 squared minus 2 times 4 times 7, remember a and b, times the cosine, what's angle C? 62 degrees. 62, do the whole thing here. I got 38.71. Take the square root of that to get rid of this square. Remember, that's the inverse operation, and you get 6.22 or 6.2. Remember, you can take the square root of the whole thing and get your final answer. All right, now, what happens if you're trying to find an angle? And this was trying to find the side. But what happens if you have the law of cosines and you're trying to find the angle this time? So, geez, no, I don't have anything. So, side, side, side. So I'm given 3 sides this time, and I want to find the angle. Last time I was given side, angle, side, and I had to find the side. So to do that, you're going to set up the same way. So angle M across from M would be this, little m. P across from big P is little p, and across from Q is little q. So you have to label that first thing you do. Now, what are you trying to find? You're trying to find x. X is m. M is across from the little m, so you're going to start out with little m. And you're going to write little m squared equals the other 2, p squared plus q squared, minus the other 2 times p times q, times the cosine of big M, because big M goes with little m. Okay? Now you substitute in. Little m is 8, right here, equals 6 squared plus 3 squared minus 2 times 6 times 3. Remember, the 6 and the 3 are the p and the q, little p and q, and they go here and here, and then the cosine of x. So we're trying to find the x here, degrees. So a little bit different now when you solve this. So you need to put these two together here, that's 45, and you need to put this here together, which is negative 60, negative 36. So this is 64 equals 45 minus 36 cosine x. Now we're solving for the x. So we got to get everything away from it. First thing you do, you don't add these two together because you can't, because that's attached here. So you got to subtract 45 from both sides. 64 minus 45 is 19 equals negative 36 cosine of x. That's your algebra right there. Okay? Now, what do? You divide by negative 36, both sides, and you get 19 divided by negative 36 equals the cosine of x. Then you take the inverse cosine of both sides. I don't show that here. To get rid of that cosine, you got to take the inverse cosine to get x. So if we take the inverse cosine of 19 over negative 36, we get 122. Let me show you how to do that on your calculator. So I want to show you this part here. So clear. So inverse cosine, so second inverse cosine. Remember, inverse cosine is right here. There's inverse cosine. So you got to hit the second button of negative 19 over 36. So negative 19 divided by 36. You can do it like that. And you get 121.8, which is approximately 122. Now, a lot of times they'll make you round it to a 10th place value. Whoops, sorry. Sorry about that. Okay, so there you go. All right, remember that has to be a little negative sign, not a minus sign, or you'll get an error message. All right, let's try 4A and 4B. I'm going to back out a little bit so I can get it all in one picture. All right, let me go in. Okay, slightly. All right, here we go. So, I think you can see all of that. I got to go in farther. Sorry. All right, I'm going to have to move it down as I go. So in this case, we want to find x degrees. So we got to label that. If that's j, that's little j. If that's m, that's little m. If that's k, that's little k. So now we set up. What do we want to find? We want to find x degrees, which is opposite that one. So that's big J, little j. So we start out with little j. That's what we start out with. Even though we know it, it goes with big J, which is the angle. Okay? So we say j squared because we're trying to find j right here. Okay? So we got to start out with j squared because remember, little j goes with big J on the outside. Now you're starting to understand outside, inside. That's how I think of it. I don't know if that helps you. So we say j squared equals the other two sides squared, added together, minus 2km, because we got to put the k and the m together here in a product, times the cosine of j. Now, from there you substitute in. Now, this is all crammed in here, but it's the best I can do. 1.9 squared equals 1.3 squared plus 2.1 squared minus 2 times 1.3 times 2.1 times the cosine of x, because we're trying to find that degree. So now we put this part together, 6.1. We square that, put these two together, put these three right here together. My fault, that line should not have gone all the way across. Sorry, it should only go on right there. Okay, because you're only putting this together, which is negative 5.46. Subtract 6.1, get negative 2.49 equals negative 5.46. That's what this is here. Bring that down, bring that down. Now we divide by negative 5.46, and you get 0.4560. What's funny about that, I remember back when I was in high school and when I taught the first, way back, long time ago, you'd have to look up this as a table, in a table, so that's funny. You had to find in a table cosine, inverse cosine of 0.54560, and it went out to 4 place values. Well, so the inverse of cosine, cosine is 62.87, and that's your answer when you round it to 1 place value. All right, and the last problem here. So let me slide over to this. Then we'll move down. So on this one, as you can see, all right, as you can see, we again label. So that's big R, little r, big S, big T, little t. Okay. So now, what are we going to use? Are we going to use sine or cosine? Well, it's side, side, and side. So you're going to use the law of cosines because of side, side, side. So how do you set that up? How do you know which one to use? Well, you're trying to find x. X degrees is opposite the r, the little r. So if you're trying to find big R, you got to use little r. So we start out with r squared equals s squared plus t squared minus 4st. Remember, the outside is the little r and the big R. The inside are the other two, s and t, little s, little t. We don't use big S and big T in the middle. Okay? So we then substitute 3 in here, the other numbers in, except we're trying to find r, which is x. Okay, we're trying to find that degree. So that's 9. That together is 57.46. This together is negative 54.9. Now we're going to subtract 57.46 from both sides. I didn't subtract it from here because I didn't have room. So 9 minus this is negative 48.46 equals negative 54.9 times the cosine of x, divide by negative 54.9. You get this 0.8827, which is in a table like I told you before a long time ago. Now it's in your calculator. So what do we do to get rid of cosine? We take the inverse cosine. Inverse cosine of 0.8827 is 28.03, or approximately 28 degrees. And that's how we got this answer right there. Right there. Okay? There you go. Have a great day. That's your second of 3 videos.